over a period of time. I gave you each an analysis that shows a 7-year look at your individual departments, which we're not going to go through in detail here, but one of the things I would tell you is that if we look at all departments together from 2007 to 2016, the number of full-time employees in the town is flat. We had 207 full-time employees in 2007. We have 216, excuse me, in 2016 we have 207 full-time employees. In part-time employees, we had 16 part-time employees in 2007, and we have 25 part-time employees in 2016. So that considers some of the shifts that we're making, trying to manage those costs where we can. The hourly seasonal, we had 57 hourly seasonal employees in 2007, and we have 73 today. When you look, and it's not included in this budget, but we do also have the water utility. And in 2007, we had 19 employees in the water utility. Today, we have 16 employees in the water utility, and we have no changes in seasonal or hourly. So the trending has been, from what I can see overall, is that where we've had to manage, from an employee standpoint, it's been to try and moderate the full-time hires, and you take advantage more of seasonal and part-time help as we need to. When you look at the 207 overall, the mix of full-time employees, while the overall has remained flat, the mix of where the employees are has changed. Right? And so we've had a shift where some of the employee costs have moved into some of the higher cost areas, which has had an increase in overall payroll costs. So when you look there, so there's a mix. When you look at the mix, but if you look at the overall complement, it's flat over a 7-year period. So it continues to be consistent with where we've been dealing with is the increase, and it's I would say steady increase in the cost of pensions, cost of healthcare, right? Even with the employees. And this budget includes the fact that with employee contributions to healthcare is overall for the township is $1 million. So if we didn't have the employees contributing, this overall budget would be up another $1 million. So it's been moderated to recognize that change in the law and that contribution, which has been very beneficial. It's just the fact that the pace at which these costs are changing and rising is greater than what any one area or group can absorb. And so it just creates this situation we're in. So what I would summarize it as is that we can reduce this overall budget before we introduce by roughly $120,000 in order to meet the statutory cap requirement. Meeting it would mean that we would have a budget increase, a levy increase that would be about 3%, right? Maybe a little bit, 3.1, somewhere around there. If we were to continue to try and strive to get beyond that and roughly lose it instead of 118,000, 120,000, and try and achieve a greater reduction closer to $500,000, that would bring us closer to an absolute 2% increase in the levy. I don't think it's possible for us in the structure that we have, unless things were very dramatic, to actually zero out a budgetary increase this year, and therefore zero out the levy. There would have to be some very dramatic things that we would have to consider in order to be able to do that. So just overall, I think we're continuing as we can to manage our costs. The influences associated historically that we have to deal with put pressure on us this year. We were fortunate in one regard, is the last 2 years, with those, the increases. So we didn't receive a pension increase last year. We didn't receive a sewer increase last year. So you're looking at roughly $400,000 worth of cost this year that didn't hit us last year. Right? So we got lucky and grateful that those were all being managed in a different way. Part of what we saw was in the paper today is the state pension fund only earned 4.1% return last year, which is driving the fact is that the pension fund, for solvency purposes, has to increase its contribution rate because to make up for the shortfall in the earnings that were projected for the fund because of what we all see as the economic climate and the investor climate that we've been in for quite some time. So it's a function of the fact is that when returns on investment are lower than what's necessary, the contributions still have to be made, and payments still have to be made. You have to increase your contribution rate to, in effect, make up that shortfall. And this is the municipal portion. This doesn't address anything associated with what the state's been dealing with in terms of the overall unfunded obligation at the state level. This does not affect that. This is a piece of that that just affects the municipal funding.